Power Breakfast. Catch the Power Breakfast Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. with Shekinah and Fortress, the queens of breakfast. Voice of the People is a dynamic and interactive radio phoning show that gives listeners a platform to voice their opinions on current affairs, social issues, and community concerns. With engaging discussions, expert insights, real-time audience participation. Voice of the People.
It is Voice of the People right here on the Power Breakfast. You can be part of the conversation. You can also catch us on Beat TV. That is channel 92 on Topstar. Now, she is widely known for her professional music career, which spanned back in the days in 1996. And I don't know if a lot of people do call her by her real name. She has been well known for her name as Sister D, who is, of course, a women's and children's rights activist. And she is joining us today for the Power Breakfast show on Voice of the People. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. When was the last time somebody called you by your real name, though? I think the Sister D has stuck for a very long time.
Yeah, it has stuck. And those that call me by my real name, I know we come a long way.
Yes.
I know we are from school together. We are from Libala, where we grew up. Most people just call me Sister D. But when you call me Dapo or Dapota, I know we come a very long way.
For me, I think the Sister D does it for me.
Okay.
All right. So you have been very active when it comes to children's rights and women's rights as well, all together. And recently you were part of a march, a protest that is No Bail, No Bond, hashtag No Bail, No Bond. We have seen over 20 cases that has been reported due to defilement. And what is your reaction to the increasing cases of child defilement in the country?
Well, for me, it's a 50-50 situation. It's a negative and a positive. It's a negative that these things are still happening. It's always sad that we are still recording cases of child defilement, even after talking for a long time. Where you even feel like, am I doing anything? Is it necessary? Can I just concentrate on myself and just leave this thing because people are not listening? It's a positive in that people are now aware that certain things should not be done to them. They know rape is a crime. They know child defilement is a crime. And if something like that happens to you or your child, you should report that to the nearest police station or police post. So for me, I think it's 50-50 because people are now aware, and we are in the information age where now access to information is right at your fingertips, Those days, for you to hear your news, it will have to take a day, for the newspaper to report it, for the radio to report it. But now it's there and then, so we have a whole lot of information. These are things that maybe might have been happening, but they did not come to the fore because we could not have access to certain information. We have Facebook now, we have everything, we have the radios, we have too much information. So I think that also has contributed, and which is a good thing because it's really highlighting that these things are still happening and people know about it. And also a plus that there was a time we did a lot of school tours, just to teach the children, the young girls, the young boys, how not to be touched, if they threaten you to say, I'll kill your mother when you tell them that I did this to you. They are lying to you. So be brave as a young child. Tell your mother, tell your teacher, tell an elderly person you trust. And really that hits me because we tell children to trust adults. And we've taken advantage of that trust from the children. So it's a 50-50, sad, but also I think people have the information. Yeah.
And there was something that during a conversation that we're having where it was brought up that possibly why we're seeing such an increase in the cases of child defilement might in some way be a good thing, because it might be because people are more aware, so they're reporting. But just in the past, why we never saw such cases, because people kept it to themselves.
Yeah.
Or maybe possibly, is it truly that the cases have risen? Which is it?
Well, reported cases have risen, definitely. And that's where that point comes in, to say maybe people are aware that they need to report these cases, because in the olden days, we know if such things happened, it would just remain in the family, sweep it under the carpet, no, it's family, let's talk, or let's pay, But now people are rising up, even women. It's sad that we have, women like those 3 women, who'd, want their child to go to take the child to the government, and have their husband. It's sad.
Unfortunately,
but I think people are aware, and it's good that they know that if anything like that happens to them, definitely they have to report, and people are being arrested, which is a good thing. Yeah.
Now, we might say that this is a very touchy subject for a lot of people.
Yes.
And they say if you're not infected, you are affected. And through social media, we've been seeing these cases being reported left, right, and center. What societal factors would say are contributing to the prevalence of defilement cases in Zambia?
Of course, one thing or two that we can look at is, number one, I'll call them witch doctors. I'll not call them traditional healers, because a traditional healer will not tell you to go and sleep with your child or defile your child for you to get rich or for you to be cured of HIV and stuff like that. So that has contributed, because from the stories that we're hearing, the 2 major stories, like the cancer hospital case, and also this man who is, the wives went to the police to say, we want him released. There's something about witch doctors or medicine or whatever, so already it's pointing to somewhere. Even in the olden days would say it, to say witch doctors. I'm not going to say traditional doctors. They are good traditional doctors. Witch doctors, those that would do the worst thing, to tell somebody you're going to get rich, or you'll be promoted at work, stuff like that, all those things. So that is a contribution. Also, I think people are really rushing for riches. It's actually
quick
almost
money.
the same. Money comes when you work. You don't get quick money just like that.
Yes.
It's not possible. It's not. Money has to be worked for. And people have to learn to be patient. It's sad that your generation, most of the young people are so interested in quick money. You find that they find themselves in illicit stuff, they are in drugs, they are in prostitution, because they want fast money. You don't get fast money. You work for money. You start slowly. 1 kwacha turns to 2 kwacha, 2 kwacha turns to 3 kwacha, and at the end of the day, you see that, we have a track record of where those riches are coming from. We have a lot of issues. We have corruption. People want to steal from the government. The money that we're struggling for to pay tax. You work so hard, but you know that you are supposed to pay your tax. And somebody just takes that money and use it to their, as individuals, personal things. It's not fair. That money is for the sick people in hospital. It's for the sick people, who cannot manage to be on maybe NEMA, but they still need the health facilities. So for me, I think we are too quick. We are looking for money too fast. You need to work for your money. You need to work extra hard, actually. So all those things are really contributing, because people are, ukashita so fast, uzankala na ndalama. When you do this, you'll be rich. You'll be promoted. And then people, can you imagine somebody tells you, you can sleep with your child and then you get this or you get cured? Where is your common sense?
Well, you also touched on the rising factor of people going to witch doctors. Now, can we blame witch doctors at this point for being part of the prevailing cases that we have?
Yes, those that are doing that, definitely they have to be blamed and arrested also.
Yes.
For me, if somebody says that's what the witch doctor told me, you even start with the witch doctor, because they are the ones who told that person to say you can do this. I know we need our sense and stuff like that, but people are too desperate, so both the witch doctor and the person who did the act need to be arrested. So, and also regulation. We need regulation. I think, I think at the rate we are leaving everybody to do whatever they want, whether it's witch doctors, whether it's selling in the street, whether it's doing what, we need order in the country. You even know that if you're going to sell meat on the street, it's wrong. You need a space which is conducive for meat to be sold. But now we've just let it. People will be selling meat on the street. The flies are there and stuff, and somebody will say, Tina vote. We need a mindset change as a people. Okay. We really need to look ourselves. What are we doing to ourselves?
Speaking of, I'll say, mindset change, I think back then, I'm not sure about now, if maybe that has gone down, where we used to say that it takes a community to raise a child. So now, what role do you think families should play, and even communities should play, when it comes to addressing cases of defilement? Back then, I think for us, that traumatized us as children was seeing if a thief is caught, the entire community is involved in mob justice. So in such cases of defilement, what should the community and families do?
Very good question, actually. Like you said, it takes a community to raise a child. That's how we grew up. It's different now because we're in our offenses, and we don't know who our neighbor is. Can you imagine that? You don't know who is next door. I think we need to go back to who we were. I remember growing up, my father was chairman in UNIP, and we even had a flag at our house, and he was so respected. He was a ward chairman, not even constituency or whatever. Actually, he was a branch chairman, because ward is bigger. He was a branch chairman, and everything was flowing in line. If there's a visitor who's coming from Ndola, coming to Livala, my father had to know, because he was the chairman, and he would report to whoever was next to him, and the other one reports to the other person. So those things really helped, because we would know, there's a visitor from Ndola in our community. Where are they staying? They're staying at house number 15, so Street. You go to church, there's a visitor from Mongo. They come with a letter from Mongo Baptist, because I'm a Baptist, and I used to be with Libala Baptist. They'll tell you, we have a visitor from Mongo. They read the letter in the church to say we have Mr. So-and-so. He's visiting for 2 weeks, and we are going to be worshiping with him. Okay. Everybody knows, starting from us, the Sunday school children. Can you imagine that scenario? That's what used to happen, and it worked. So I feel we still need to go back and look at the good concepts that we had in the olden days. We need to know our neighbors. Right now, I don't even lie. You don't even know who's next door. Whatever they are doing, their names, which is very difficult. So we need community sensitizations for ourselves. Let's meet up as a community, the way we used to do, like if it's Humanism Week, we know the whole week the community will be meeting together, cleaning the community. And I live on number 15. Believe me, when we're growing up in Liwala Stage 4, starting from Chilimbulu Road to Bama Road, we knew everyone from number 1 street to the last street. That's how we lived.
Yes.
Even now, when we meet them, we know, Nezonkala Pass, really? And stuff like that. So where has that gone? Where has it gone? So I think we really need to check ourselves as a people. And also, we are so close to family, like it's father, mother, children. The cousins will not come to your home. They are, even when they are orphans, they have to go in the streets. It wasn't like that. In our times, I've always said, Munganda mwa mama, mwenzowela abantu. There would be everyone, your auntie, your this, your that. And it was fun. And would, interact and know each other. So I think we really need to look at the good concepts that we had in our time. And maybe we can still, use them now. So really, it takes a community. I mean, you are not an island. We need to be together with each other.
Now, there is a controversial conversation going about the dressing of women. A section of society saying maybe it's the way women dress that might prompt the perpetrator to go ahead and do something as heinous as that. Do you support that?
I mean, a child is in the diaper.
Yes.
And, there are only 2 years, the child is 5 years. I mean, if something like that attracts you, why don't you go to an adult who will consent with you to say, okay, can we meet and do this and that? Then that's it. I will not accept somebody telling me because somebody dressed badly and they went to defile a child. That I will not take. Also, I think the other side of the coin is we should not always forget the nature of man. I think sometimes we've overlooked that. Not to children, but maybe to adults. There are some men who, maybe who are weak, and the type of dressing, we are humans. Something will attract you.
Yes.
Sometimes maybe it's just your nose. I look at you and I'm attracted to your nose. I look at the way you are dressing, I'm thinking of other things. That's just human nature. The eyes will send a message, a signal to the mind, and, certain things will start coming to mind. So, I mean, for me, I've always said dressing has spaces. Dressing has a place. If you're going to swim, yes, you wear a bikini, you wear your shorts, you wear everything. If you're going to the beach, if you're going to church, why would you wear a slit up to here and you're going to church? I think that doesn't really make sense. Honestly, I think we should know what to wear at what time. You are going to State House, you want to wear, all your breasts are outside. No, that's an official place that we respect ourselves because we are the owners of that office. It's not the person who is there at that time. It's us. We just sent somebody to represent us in that office. So why are we not respecting ourselves? So I think for me, dressing has places. You don't need to wear anything, to church. At the beach, nobody will be surprised if I'm wearing shorts at the beach or at the swimming pool.
Yes.
But they'll be surprised if I go to church in bum shorts. They'll be like, has she gone mad? I mean, that's just nature. So I think we really need to check ourselves on the dressing as well. Let's dress for the proper places. Yeah.
Now, going to the laws, you actually touched on it earlier on. Are there any existing laws that I would say that from the time, basically, if we were to use your song as just a rubric, or rather starting from there on till now, are there any existing laws that you would say are sufficiently effective to punish sex offenders of defilement, even of incest?
Yes, they are. I think the laws are there, and we can see that the police are also trying their best to arrest these perpetrators. Of course, laws are there, 15 years to life imprisonment for a defiler. They are there, and they are being, I don't know what word to use, but the laws are there. So for me, I think I'm just adding my voice to say, and also no bail, no bond. I think I'm happy to say that when I wrote the no bail, no bond on my Facebook, it was just me speaking, and how it just went like wildfire. For the first time, I think, on my page, I'm not sure now what the numbers are, of shares. It was about 2,000 to 3,000 shares of people saying no bail, no bond. And I was like, what? Is this what is happening? So people are saying that. Let's not give bail to bond to child defilers. No bond, no bail. Because these kids are still in our communities, and immediately that person leaves the police. How safe are those children and the other children who could be defiled by the same person? So for me, I'm saying no bail, no bond. Yes, they are being arrested, but we don't need them in our community. If especially it has proved by the doctors and everybody to say this is the person, now they are going to court. We don't need them in our community. And also, on the 25th of May, when the president is pardoning prisoners, I think for now, please, let's not have defilers there. I know some people were telling me, no, people reform. Why are you talking like that? No. Let's not have them. Let that be an example to say this time the president will not put anyone who defiled a child on the list. Because people have to learn. We are not learning.
Yeah.
We are not learning. So those are some of the things that can be looked at. Also, we need a lot of safe spaces. For rape victims, for, children who've been defiled. Sometimes it's in their homes. So where do they go? Where do they run to? We need these spaces, and I think I was even saying on my Facebook page to say it's one of my dreams that one day I'll have this safe house where we can just have, children, victims of rape, so that they have a safe space, counseling, people can talk to them and give them hope that they can still live even after that ordeal. Yeah.
Before we open up the phone lines as well to allow the public to come in, and also for you to give us your take on our conversation this morning, one of the I would say some of the things that are brought up, and I think we saw it a lot with the R. Kelly situation, where it was, but usually these perpetrators of sexual violence against women and children, usually they too, they've had, they've been assaulted as well. So it's learned behavior.
Yeah.
So then shouldn't we have some more passion or compassion for them, seeing as they are just victims?
Yeah, I think for me that's where now we really need to know what we're supposed to do as a people to the children that are being defiled. Because we might be going round and round circles. She's defiled or he's defiled, he's doing the same to the other children, to other people. So hence my talking about the safe spaces and also counseling. What are we doing to these people? There was a young lady, she's even married and everything, and she came to me and said, Sister D, for me, I know I'm married, and you can even tell from her face, but she's grown. But she was passing through a lot of stuff when she was young with the grandfather, where she would knock, because she's a girl, she used to sleep in the house, and the boys were outside, that kind of arrangement. And all the time she would say, knock to the grandfather's bedroom. He was naked and doing things, and this girl is just watching. What's happening? All the time. And now she's a grown woman, she has kids. And can you imagine the trauma that she's going through? She literally wants to, move with her child like a kangaroo. The way a kangaroo moves with the children.
In the pocket.
Like in the pocket. Because she's so scared. And those are some of the stories that come to light that we really need a lot of counseling to these victims of child abuse, defilement, and rape. It doesn't go away. There was a lady who was telling me, Sister D, I'm married, but the sound of a zip just puts me off. Because that's what she heard when she was being defiled or whatever. And it's still in there. So I can't even manage to be happy with my husband because that zip just kills me. A lot of stories. So we need counseling for these victims and give them hope and make sure that even as they go through this thing, they are supported. Otherwise, like you are saying with the R. Kelly, it's an offense. We won't run to say, because he was defiled and stuff like that. The law is the law.
Yes.
No, it won't look at you to say, Moniva Sister Diwa, no, we can. No, the law has no eyes, unfortunately. So whether you were defiled as a child, whether whatever, you'll be arrested. Or so what help are we giving those people? Yeah.
Now, let's go back to the drawing board. When you sang the song, Vitenden Vijuben, did you think it's going to have much importance as it has now? Did you think your song was going to be relevant in these trying moments that we're going through as a country?
Well, not this time maybe, because in the time that this song was released, I think 20 plus years ago, it was one of the top songs in the country.
Yes.
Like you say, it was a hit, a huge, huge hit. And it brought a lot of talk. Yeah, some people were saying she's insulting, she has no respect for men. Yeah, it was very controversial. It was very controversial. But I stood by that because what made me to write the song was I heard on radio that a 2-year-old child had been sexually abused and infected with HIV, And I looked at my daughter, who was only 2 years by then, and I said, what would I do as a mother? And I was in the kitchen cleaning my plates and stuff like that. And there was a knife while I was, cleaning my plates. And I looked at the knife, I said, ish, what would I do? If somebody did to as a mother, the pain that I would feel.
Yes.
I just looked at the knife, I said, I would tender them. And immediately I just got pen and paper and just wrote 3 words, Vijuven, Vicheken, Vitenden, and I left the paper. Then later on I said, I need to speak out. I need to write a song. And I just did that. So the impact, sometimes I've always said artists are, like God is the greatest artist.
Yes.
What God has created never fades. We have air throughout. We have water throughout. We have the soil that we stand on throughout. And that's God. And God is the greatest artist. We are creators. We are the image of God. As artists, we are the image of God. And whatever you bring out to the fore really has to make an impact. I'm just surprised. Wherever I check, it's Vijuveni. People are making T-shirts, they TikTok. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's my contribution. Yes, we contributed when we did the song, like the laws were changed to what we have now because we spoke out. People are getting 25 years because the song contributed to that advocacy, said no. And now we are still using the same song to advocate for no bail, no bond, and also counseling services for these young people so that they grow up to be better people in society.
How effective do you think the no bail, no bond is now? Do you think the government is going to maybe bend a little to what you are demanding as well?
I think so. We gave a petition when we were protesting with NGOCC to the vice president, and the demands were read out. So we are hoping that they would look at that and consider that, because we want the safety of our children. I think they are not safe here. If they're going to, even just looking at the person who did that to them, it will be traumatizing. So we don't need them in our community.
Okay, and though the conversation is still continuing, we're giving you the power, as this is your chance to speak up. You can call us up right now. The phone lines are open. That's on 0955 997 997. And this is Voice of the People, just as it says. That's also on 0979 192 485. Whatever questions you have, whatever questions you'd like to ask, even comments that you'd like to give, the phone lines are now open on Voice of the People. In studio, we do have Sister D with us, and we're touching on the rising cases, or rather the seemingly rising cases of defilement, which truly is quite heartbreaking, because when you speak to one person or another, you find that they have either had some interaction, they know somebody was defiled, they too were defiled. In one way or another, it seems like this is a common occurrence within homes. And one of the ways, or rather one of the things that you touched on, was how back in the day we'd have lots of people, visiting. We're not just a nuclear family, but then also now, for example, if we say in low-income households, whereby sometimes you have to keep, lots of people, all of them are staying in one home, it's cramped. You don't really have an eye on every single person, what they're doing. What extent would you say poverty plays when it comes to the increase of the vulnerability of children to defilement?
Yeah, it actually plays a huge role, because most of the time, I'll give an example of a child selling on the street. They are coming from a poverty-stricken home. You will not stop the parents to say, awesome, like a man azienda mu street. I ask a lot of children actually on the street when I meet them, so amai wako bali kuti no bebe waenda gulisa chani ne banituma ati nigulise hivi so enda school and after that, and I talk to a lot of children, and I'm like, this is quite bad. So I think poverty plays a huge role in all this, because the children are exposed, and also in the environment, like you mentioned, we live in, like you're in a room, the boys are together, everybody, and you cannot pay your attention to each and every child. But I know it's a possibility, because our mothers had 12 children, and they managed to take there, because they were, Mwiza has always said, you're a bad advocate, because I've always thought mothers should be with the children, but it really affects us. And also, that's where also the government comes in. I think we need job creation. Our time, we had a lot of companies in this country.
Okay. I think you have to hold that thought.
Okay.
We do have a caller. Hello.
Madam D.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Kawa tumwabuka.
Kawa tuemuvanshe ba St. Mike.
Ndalum.
Dr. Proud. Good morning, Mr. Moderator.
Good morning.
I'm listening to you in the garden compound.
Okay.
We needed to support you, including your song, It was the truth. That song, when you finish that program, pray it. So then people must read. Sure, one was the parida wakumbata. Just because Omosungari Pegoenda. So let us not take it when they were over, but we want to show because we are in Marodo, we the one what over here. Jaipa Maning. Did you never know one minute of president to be we are all morning through Power FM.
All right. right, Zikomo. The number is 0955-997-997 or 0979-192-485 for your contributions, whatever language you are comfortable in, whether in Nyanja, in Bemba, Kutumaisa, and be part of the conversation. If you are watching us through Bits TV as well, that is channel 92 on Topstar, you can be part of the conversation. We do have Sister D, who is a child right activist, and we are talking about the rising cases of defilement. Whatever conversation that you want to have with us as well, she is in the studio. Whatever questions that you want to pose to her, she is right here to answer them for you. Maybe you might want to comment on what he has to say, or I think before that maybe we can pick up a caller. All right. Okay, we can go ahead.
Yes, I think it's very clear on what he's talking about. I think I've said these men, these perpetrators, are giving men a bad name. You know, we are scared to leave our children with our uncles, with our grandfathers, with our husbands. You know, you don't, because you think, how are men thinking now? You know, so I think we need a lot of male voices, you know, to be added to this thing, because I think when men speak, maybe their fellow men can listen to them, because women sometimes we're just told you know, but we need a lot of male voices. That thanks, Dr. Proud. You've always been a keen follower of what is happening on radio. I appreciate.
And maybe we can also talk about what has been happening with regards to incest. Right, you will find that a child is being defiled in the house, and she has probably been going through that for the longest time possible, and she's failing to speak up because she doesn't have who to talk to. How can they go about it?
Hence that what I mentioned earlier, to say we really need to educate the young people. Yeah, even if it happens in your home, they're scared. Sometimes, I mean, we are seeing it. It's happening from the fathers. How do you report your father to say he did this?
Yes.
You know how? You know, because he's this pillar that you look to, and you cannot even say anything, you know, to him. You know, so for me, I think mothers and those good fathers, talk to your children, you know, because people need to interact, people need to visit. How are we going to be living as human beings? You know, this is so difficult for us, actually. So for me, I think let's teach the children at a young age, as young as 2, when they can listen to certain things, use their language. You know, talk to them. If anything like this happens, come to mommy, you know, and don't be angry. Just be, you know how you are supposed to talk to children. You know, talk to them. Let them be free, even if something like that happened. And also, coming to the homes, there's an issue of GBV also, which gender-based violence, like parents fighting and stuff like that. You are not concentrating on the children. You know, this woman is sad. She's been beaten. She's been mocked. She's been, you know, all sorts of things have been. Okay.
All right. Sorry to hold you.
Yeah. This woman is so sad in this house. You know, you call her all sorts of names. Is she going to manage when the child comes from school to think, how did school go? You know,
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Moderator and the guest.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
A very fine, terrific. My name is Kumbera Nsaka.
All right.
Following you very keenly.
Okay.
You know, the problem that we are confronted with today, where men, I don't know whether we should even call them men, it could be an abuse of work, because it's not all men who are like that. It's what we are doing on our young children. Now, what we need is reinforcement, also punishment. If possible, send them to prison forever, because if a child survives, it is lucky. Most of the time, they strangle them so that tomorrow it doesn't mention anything. Why can't we go back? Because today we've done away with the death sentence, which I like very much. Why can't we send them to prison forever? That's all. Because anything apart from that, there is no justice. It's a mockery. There's no a father, an uncle,
any relative or even just another person engaya kibalapa mwana omunono kibi sana kula bepash no mapatu twagiresha kanchitendere bakakatimu abatenda bibazo ku prison for good. I know it is risk that organization here is there will be frustration, but let us know that such organization are supporting such people because that's where they are living is. We should not listen to them. Death sentences needed or we throw them in Kafue so that they can be visited by crocodiles. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kombela. You can also be part of the conversation. The number is 0955 997 997 or 0979 192 485. The conversation we are having right here on Voice of the People is the rising defilement cases. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. How are you? All right, Mr. Thomas, go ahead with the contribution.
Thank you, how are you, madam?
Fine, thank you. Mr. Thomas, go ahead with the contribution.
Hello, Mr. Thomas, can you hear us?
Hello? Okay.
We seem to have lost him there, but you can still call us up right now. The phone lines are open. That's once again on 0955 997 997 or even on 0979 192 485.
Hello, good morning. Hello, you're through to the Power Breakfast.
Hello.
Hello, you're through to the Power Breakfast. Good morning.
Morning, madam.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Mr. Thomas.
All right, Mr. Thomas, go ahead with the contribution. Hello? Okay.
Mr. Thomas, can you hear us?
We can hear you. Mm-hmm. Mkwai. But Thomas, tamle umfikisha. Hello? Hello? Okay. But Thomas.
Okay, we can't seem to hear you. Thomas, please do call us back again. And that's once again on 0955 997 997. Hello, live on Voice of the People.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, sister Mwaka Bueno.
Ukabwino mwauka bwanji naimwe.
Tao kamuli Bueno wa sister D.
Biri bwino kaya mwaka bwanji naimwe.
Tao kaniba chirunge ku membership from Nsaka West.
Okay.
This topic yanu ni hapo na maningi. Ine contribution yanga chape mwaona abantu ya nyanya sister D, you started long when I started listening to your songs in the driver kuchoma. Kudala maningi tamena manamba kuchita campaign pa vitende ni vijuveni. Ya kwana ntao manja abantu kuba manga they are going to congest the prison. So ni kubachita cheka straight. Well, Castellation
kutula chape kwa so that bantu baziziba babachina balingesa niki bazamba kutaba mzawo na bambili bazabileka sho apani mwana wa muzako wakitavija mwana wonzi palira aya nangu ni uchende wabwanjwa so zanangu izima zenga ati mutatengala mulomanja mwake because mwana neba wako akuchitira soko mwana wako mayiro wa mupaya wakapokola babwera paliwe it's out of anger that pain yakuti wavutika pa mwana wako manje muntu abera chitacha bevo bavuserufu so kuti tengela mala mulomanja yatu please tapapa temebo kwanisa kuti kambira kulipe bondi kulipe beo kulipe chani prerogative of mercy kuli bakateka apa manje baletechela mulo yakuti nikubajuva so that's pomule kwa at least kapenza pomula baze kwanisa wazimaye wa mupima ku market sometimes waenda kuli conscious na mwana shwa patupi mwana tikali uzapala mbana bangati manje uyu mwana ali 2 years uyu mwana akafika 4 years waletoena kumaye wake bayembekeza uyu baziye uli kunchito baenda na kamwana aka ukukwena kunwe bayembekeza ikale punishment izwa chikwati
okay ziko
para bana bati ngole punishment
zikomo kwambili boss
zikomo.
All right. Maybe you can just answer a few questions. And the other caller, I think Mr. Thomas, was talking about how maybe in the household, women can be taught what to do in a case that they find out maybe their husband has been defiling the child. What can they do?
I mean, you're a mother. First thing, you're a mother, and you know what mothers do. They protect their children. You know, for me, I've always said, how do you protect a man or a marriage of a man who defiles a child?
Let's talk about the 3 women. An example.
Can you imagine? I couldn't believe my ears and my eyes, you know, because somebody from a certain media called me to say, this is what has happened, because I wasn't on the internet, you know, I didn't know what was happening.
Yes.
And they just called me to say, would you comment on this? I said, what? No, there's this that has happened, and they explained the whole situation. I was like, no. Until I saw the video, I was like, is this real, or what is happening? First of all, that man has 3 wives. On top of it, he's defiling his own biological daughter. What kind of society of women are we breeding?
Okay, to play devil's advocate, let's say, for example, maybe the man was a sole breadwinner in the house, and they know that now that is out, everyone
They're not going to be having bread and butter.
Please let me die with hunger as a mother. Allow me to die with hunger, because I don't need that man in my life. You know, and they are even willing to say, government, imutenge mwana wa muna watu wabwele. All the 3 women, even including the mother of the child. That's very sad. And these situations have happened even some time back, because we worked a lot of victim support unit. You know, there was a situation in Kablonga where, you know, the father was defiling the stepdaughter, a very young girl, about 6 years. All the time the mother goes for work in the night, he goes on the child, you know, and he would cover the girl with a blanket all the time. Blanket. This day the girl was brave enough to say, today, a young girl, can you imagine going through that ordeal? Today I'm going to remove the blanket to see who is doing this to me. And the girl managed to do that. And who is it? The stepfather. You know, and that story was brought to us. I've always said our home is like the second police, because abused children, raped, whatever, they are always coming to our home. Maybe they could find answers, you know. So that there's a person who came and reported this matter. We went to victim support unit, got the police, went to Kablonga. You won't believe how the mother to that child just stood by the gate and said, nobody's coming in. Nothing like that is happening here.
Oh my goodness.
Thank God we were the police, and the child was retrieved, and we took that child to a safe space. They checked, the doctors checked, yes, the child was actually beyond recognition, like down there, you know, and the mother was refusing. So I think what's wrong with us women? Can we get empowered?
But what should we do with such type of women, you know?
They need to be arrested. They need to be arrested. They are accomplices. They need to be, even those 3, I hope they are still in custody.
Yes.
No bail, no bond for those, because what kind of mothers are they? You know, children are not safe even with those women in the house. How many children do they have? How safe are the other children? You know, so for me, I think these women need to be arrested. And chikwati chabe, like people have always said, you know, sometimes mpeza na chabe mrod mwambonkala pamozi.
All right, let's talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning. Yes, it's the voice of the people. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. Yes, it's the voice of the people.
Good morning, madam.
Morning, sir.
Morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from, please.
Okay, madam. Sorry, I'm back again. It's me, Mr. Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Thomas. We can hear you.
Yeah.
His line is bad.
Mr. Thomas,
Madam, it's a popular letter.
Mkwai. But Thomas, tatule myumfwa. Hello?
It's madam Tapini Boy. That's what it's not
Mm-hmm. But Thomas' line is really bad.
Unfortunately, we've lost him.
Yes,
on the
I
end.
think, there are two studio numbers, 0955 997 997 or 0979 192 485. So you can use either of the two. Hello, good morning. Hello? All right, I think you can continue.
Yes, that was my point. And also, I think we need to start educating ourselves as women so that we are empowered. It doesn't matter whether you're selling tomato somewhere, you know, you have a stand in the market, but we need to be empowered. You end up, you know, calling for a perpetrator, a husband which defiled your own child because you are stranded. You know, tizadia chani, already rent ifunika kulipira. You know, that tells us a lot of things, and we need a lot of job creation in this country. I think people need to find jobs. I actually started talking about this, I think, when one caller was on the line.
Yes.
You know, we had a lot of companies in our days, you know, the times of UNIP. Everybody was going to work. You just complete school, you have a job. You know, why can't we go back to that? Why can't all those things that are in these big stores in our country, why can't we make them in Zambia? You know, if you have macaroni, why can't you make an industry for macaroni in Zambia so that people are working there? If you have police uniforms that police wear in your country, the soldiers, the nurses, why can't we have industries so that those women are putting buttons on that, those shirts and everything like that? I think this problem comes a long way because we really need to search ourselves deeper to see how we can stop certain things. Women need to be empowered. A woman will protect their child if they're safe, you know. But now we are waiting for this man who's at Nikachokapa and have nowhere to go. You know, so let's create jobs for people. You know, let's have industries. Chania, small things like toothpicks. Why are we importing toothpicks? Even needles. Why? You know, why can't we do that? We saw tires being made in this country. We saw blankets in Livingstone. We saw bicycles. We saw Mazembe was here in this country. Is it not possible to still do that, like in this generation, so that people can be employed, live in a good environment, good homes, instead of one with 8 children living in a one-roomed house? It's possible. We can do it. So I think we really need to dig deeper as a people and see where we can help so that we have a good environment for ourselves and our children.
And well, those are very good ideals, but it will take years, even decades, to get to that level. So now what about the woman now who knows, most likely I have a suspicion that my husband
is doing something.
And if he's gone, if he's arrested, the kids have nothing. We have no home. What do we do now?
Now, I think somebody can even find a 20 kwacha or a 10 kwacha and sell things like, sorry, I'll say freeze it. You know, uzagula lero wagula 50 kwacha, milo you have 100 kwacha. Why can't you do that? I mean, for me, how do you even sleep in the same bed with a man who has defiled your child? Like you're okay. It's not normal. That's why I said, even when you asked me, I said, let me die with hunger. That's my word. Let me die with hunger than be with an animal who's going to defile my child. You know, I'm not safe. And even if you are with him, what of the other people that are around him? You know, you hide about your child, but what of the other children, your relatives, whoever comes to your home, how safe are they? You know, for that woman, I think you have the strength. Women are so women are strong beings. People who say women are weak, they are the strongest human beings. Women are multitasking. Our friends, the male, when they're doing something, like maybe repairing a car or have a building, they'll concentrate on that thing. They'll want just to be at the building site, whatever. If it's a car, they'll want to make sure they just work on the car. But for a woman, you do 101 things. Take care of the children. Immediately, it's lunch. Oh, I have to pick the children. Oh, I have to do this. I have to, for us who are working or artists, I have to perform, but make sure that I take care of my grandson. Where do I leave him? What do I leave with him? That's what a woman is. And somebody cannot tell me they fail to take care of themselves as a woman and their children. Yes, men are supposed to be provided, like the providers, like the Bible says, but I think we are in a different era. I think women need to stand up and do certain things. You cannot fail to, even people with disabilities manage to do things.
Yes.
But you have your hands, you have your eyes, you have everything. You cannot tell me I need this defiler because I cannot take care of myself. That's an insult to a woman.
Now, we can be having this conversation on and on, but we will have to wrap it up. Now, as a pioneer in music, as a child's rights activist, what are the long-term societal consequences if some cases of defilement remain unchecked in the country? If maybe some are afraid to speak up. There are a lot of cases that we have seen on social media that have come forward to say this one has been defiled, ABCD is happening. But what of those that tend to just hold it in to say, yeah, this is my husband and I'm going to stick by him?
Oh, wow. I know we cannot change everyone's mind, but my thing is that we need a lot of mindset change. And also, like the others mentioned, we need punishment for these people. For me, it's vitendeni, vijuveni, vichekeni. No bail, no bond. To those women that cannot speak out, they'll speak out one day because there'll be a worse thing that would happen to them, or they might lose that child because, these perpetrators have gone to extents of strangling these children because they fear that if they go somewhere, they will say this is what happened to them. How is she going to mourn? And the truth always comes out. The truth always comes out. They'll try to hide it and stuff like that, even when they grow. We've seen young people, who've grown into these young, good ladies, but now they are coming out to say, oh, that non-person did this to me, but it was done to them when they were young. So they are not protected. You, as a woman, you think you are protecting your husband, but one day it will come out. So set yourself. Set yourself. What are you doing to your children? Do you want that child to grow, demotivated? They will not have that pride in public. No, we all want our children to shine. So women, please be a woman. Strength of a woman. Where is that? Where is that? Yes, we love our men. We want to be with our men. But if they're not the good men, they don't deserve to be with us.
Hashtag be part of the movement.
That's true.
No bail, no bond.
No bond.
But then again, just to flip the coin a little bit more,
Yes.
we've seen with in America with the Me Too movement how that started out as a good movement, but then some people found it as a way to get their way in a sense where they would lie and falsely accuse men of saying I was assaulted by this man. So what checks and balances can we put in place now whereby if you're saying this man, you think as if you leave me, I'll report you saying you defiled my child. What can we do to ensure that those good men are protected?
Yeah, I think it's very unfair to just accuse somebody when nothing happened. I think that's also another case, because if you're accusing somebody wrongly or it did not happen, you just want to destroy their name, then you're not a good human being. For me, it's actually those cases are very difficult if they're not proven. Yeah, something has to be proved. The court works with evidence.
Yes.
Yeah, if there's no evidence to that, then there's nothing we can do. We will not believe you because there's no evidence. Yeah,
definitely. And well, we are wrapping up this conversation, and you can still send us your messages as well. That's on 0955 997 997. Thank you so much for joining us in studio. You've provided so much insight. It's been very wholesome. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much, Fortress. Thank you so much, Shekaina.
Thank you.
You're definitely welcome. And still coming up, we've got Convos Before Coffee and still way more hits coming away. But also Sister D's song is coming up. Just to remind you once again that possibly possibly, we need to find another avenue, especially as we protect our young children, because these are our future, they are present. And truly, you cannot do that to somebody so innocent.
No.
And we're still coming up, more conversations, great conversations, right here on Voice of the People and on the Power Breakfast Show.
Voice of the People is a dynamic and interactive radio phoning show that gives listeners a platform to voice their opinions on current affairs.
Good morning. Good morning.
A brand new morning experience is coming your way. Introducing the Power Breakfast, where the queens of breakfast serve up the hottest conversations, freshest hits, and everything you need to start your day right. Catch the Queens of Breakfast every weekday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Power FM and Beats TV. And no, this isn't an April Fool's joke.